Welcome to the presentation of TOMAS.CPM. In a few minutes I will show you basic features of TOMAS Corporate Performance Management and Collaboration Network platform. TOMAS.CPM can bring together users and content on a single cloud-based workspace, and you can see your productivity accelerating. Platform combines storing documents, managing meetings and conclusions, creating projects that let you manage them through stages, and seeing different tasks on a calendar. You can create strategic plan, BSC or business plan involving other into preparation while monitoring realization. Furthermore, you can assign tasks when results are not according to expectations. I'll start with my items section. Basically, my items gather information from all other TOMAS modules. First section is activity section. Activity page is full with useful information. On the top left side of the page we see calendar with all events for the current month. From tasks, new valid documents, meeting invitations, project due dates and many more. Clicking on an item on the calendar opens details about it and also information associated with the event. If we go back to activity, on the right side under my tasks we see only personal tasks, and we can also see some details for each task on the list. Below my tasks, we can observe latest activities on the forum and user associated with each activity. In latest logs section, we can monitor the latest changes in the system made by the various users. With this function, we always have control over what is happening on our platform. Moving further down the page, we see a statistics section. It is about documents and logins. On the right side of the section there is a pie chart which shows us the percentage of tasks that have been completed on time and percentage of tasks that were completed after the deadline. Now we can move on to the tasks section. In this section you have option to view tasks in two different formats, either as a calendar or as a list. Here you can view all your tasks. Of course, if we are manager, we see tasks of all employees, from meetings, dashboards, different projects, corrective measures, reclamations, and so on. Clicking on a task opens a new window where details can be seen and tasks can be modified. We have two different types of tasks. Tasks can be associated with a meeting or a project, but they can also be direct tasks. Direct tasks could be created with the green button on the left top side of the page. Tasks in calendar view are colored so it can be easily recognized which tasks are delayed, which were completed on time, and tasks with relevant deadlines. Red color flags tasks which weren't completed and deadline has already passed. Green colored tasks are completed ones, and light blue tasks are tasks with the deadlines in the future. On the top of the page, we can switch to view tasks in a list format. Here we can more concisely observe which tasks belong to which user and also tasks deadlines. Red colored tasks are for delayed tasks, green colored ones are for completed tasks, and green colored with red border are for tasks which were completed but after the deadline. If you move on to the reports section. Reports section contains information about different completed tasks. In this section we see report date, user who created the report, and if the report is associated to a meeting, for example board meeting. If we are responsible, we can edit or update the report on the right hand side of each report information. Moving on to projects in the My Items section. In the projects section, we can manage projects on a user-friendly way that managers and other users can understand and use easily. We can define different projects with tasks and project team responsible for realization. If we scroll back to May, in the main view, we can see completion info connected to different tasks and projects. Under this progress bar of different projects, we have a list of all tasks of the project. For example, if you click on project 1, we have tasks associated with this project, and the red color flags the delayed tasks. We also see the user responsible for each task, and the progress bar completion of the project is calculated from the tasks completed in the specific project. Now we can move on to the dashboard section, which is basically a visual representation of most important indicators regarding your company that managers can review quickly with a morning coffee. It is linked to TOMAS.CPM. It shows where we are in comparison to what we planned in TOMAS.CPM. On the dashboard section, manager can monitor total sales, amount of cash or receivables, production, inventories and procurement. They can also observe employee count, expenses, and they can track progress on their project. There are 3 icons in the total sales section, and then with them we can see if task is delayed. It is indicated by the red smiley. We can assign a direct task when we see some tasks are delayed. We can also see details about total sales by clicking on the right icon, for example like this. It opens a detailed sales plan. The map in the middle of the page allows observing sales by country, and by clicking on a sales plan, we see a detailed sales plan by clicking on the right icon in the total sales section. If we go back to the dashboard section, we'll see that we can also filter info on this page by clicking on Show Hide Filter. We can filter sales by year, month, product and other parameters. Dashboard also alerts on the problems in different business areas, for example when certain triggers are below expectations. Overall, dashboard page allows concise and quick summary of all the important developments in the company. With a click on Center Indicator, we can get more details about this business area. For example, if we click on Total Sales. The next section we'll examine is My Documents. On this section, we can store documents that we flagged in TOMAS.CPM. For example, the documents that are interesting or important to us. With this feature, you'll never forget an important document because they are all just a click away. We can also manage them through type, for example like contracts. We click on type, and now the drop down list will sort them alphabetically, for example contracts, documents, meetings, conclusions and stuff like this. Moving on to the forums section. Forums section allows users to engage in a multiple-way discussion about pressing matters. Here you can see all remarks on specific documents, recommendations to improve some documents, and you can discuss anything relevant. Overall, my items capture the essence of basic development in your company. You can manage tasks, monitor projects and documents, visualize your company in dashboard, or engage in a discussion in the forum section. The next major section I'll show you is TOMAS.CPM or TOMAS Business Plan. In TOMAS.CPM, you can define workflow of planning procedures, people involved, and tasks they need to perform. You can also, when all responsible people input their planned data and planners confirm them, we can perform simulations and what-if analysis. Solutions can be used for different planning purposes: annual plan, strategic plan, company plan, plan of group companies. You can create different plan tables, and these tables can be further modified by different users, for example like sales plan and cost plans. You can open different plan tables, for example investments, and you can also prepare multiple versions of plans, for example optimistic and pessimistic version. Solution enables planners total freedom in definition of any number of different input tables for planning. When we are finished, we can easily export our tables into Microsoft Word, both text and numerical data. Planners can be also presented through the OLAP interface. This is a good way to present plan to management to OLAP multidimensional tool. For example, if we choose sales plan by products, we can easily present this plan to the management in the chart format with the icons here, like column chart or a pie chart. In the OLAP, we can also easily rotates dimensions, for example, from column to row, or from filter to row or column. So it's a very flexible interface to operate in. Now, next big section is TOMAS.CPM, which is the Thomas documents. We go under the All Documents, and with this module you can gather and organize all company documents, for example, contracts, organization regulations, directions, legal documents, ISO documents, forms, instructions, meeting minutes, and they are all then available to you with just one click. Documents can be also opened directly from the process model. For example, if we click on Type, we see different kinds of documents. In this section, for example, contracts. And documents can be then further sent to reconciliation, so you have a total follow-up on each document. Now we move on to Thomas meeting. With permanent view in this module upon the realization of agreed conclusions from different types of meetings, we achieve that responsible finish their tasks on time and with quality. When company succeeds in increasing the percentage of task realization and conclusions, it certainly achieves or exceeds planned goals. Basically, here in the Thomas meeting section, we can view all conclusions from all meetings, and also we see tasks associated with this meeting and the deadlines and the progression on these tasks. Now we move on to the other modules, which I will show you in the PowerPoint file. TOMAS BSC, or Strategic Planning and Balance Scorecard, is a solution which helps you transfer your strategy into actions. You can define mission and vision of the company, strategic objectives, and you can set actions to achieve strategic goals. Measurable targets for each business unit are set and linked to strategic objectives. For each strategic objective, we determine tasks, terms, and responsible. Responsible reports about task realization, and we determine for each strategic objective goals to measure successfulness of task realizations. Successfulness of workers can be measured and rewarded. Dynamic strategic mapping indicates if there are bad KPIs or tasks are delayed for a specific strategy. In the TOMAS MIS, or multidimensional analysis, we see that when TOMAS MIS is successfully introduced, you will benefit from easy report viewing, alerts on the key points of your business. You can export the deviations from targets. There is increased level of control and cooperation of different departments in your company, and you can identify business opportunities and threats. Different colors show you where your performance is bad in comparison to plan or previous years. TOMAS process is used for process modeling and ISO support. You can model your processes and focus towards success and excellent achievements. Our software can cooperate with you by modeling and documenting your processes. Critical elements of business processes can be analyzed, and goals of optimization and re-engineering can be determined. Simultaneously, processes are described in according to ISO standard methodology, so the judgment can be made simply through computer. Application is connected with application for document management, and every change of document is immediately seen on the process. With one click, you can get the ISO audit documentation in Microsoft Word. In TOMAS CORE, which is corrective measures management, you can act in the event of deviations from the operation of your business objectives. In the next module, which is TOMAS Reclaim or reclamation management, you can use one form to enter all reclamations and claims from your customers. You can analyze them and assign corrective, preventive, and system measures. You can also monitor realization of tasks. In the TOMAS Invest module, it supports the whole asset purchasing process, from department sending need for assets to investment department gathering offers and selecting the best one, to management, to the